What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Chelsea news yet again coming out of Stamford Bridge, coming out of Naples. This Osimhen deal isn't going away. How are we all doing? Welcome in. It's good to see some people in the chat already. How are we feeling, Chelsea fans? Obviously, massive news coming out about Osimhen. This deal feels like it's getting closer and closer. Is there potential that this Osimhen deal could be done before the end of the window, or do you think we're going to drag this one right out? The offer on the table right now is Osimhen offered by Napoli to Chelsea in return for Lukaku, Casadei, and 45 million. Guys coming in, big up HR, big up Emmanuel, big up Dan Knight. Good to see you guys in here. This could be one of the deals of the summer for me if this gets done. If you only have to part with 45 million pounds or euros, I'm not exactly sure on that one, to get Victor Osimhen, that is sensational. There's not a club in the world that literally would be turning that offer down. I can assure you of that. This is too good to be true for me. I feel like Napoli can't have put this offer on the table, but if they have, Chelsea should be snapping it up. And do you know what they should even say? Can we give you a couple more players to reduce that 45 million euro fee down? Because Casadei's not getting anywhere near Chelsea's squad this season. Casadei is miles off of even starting, miles off of the subs bench. He's looking at a championship loan, if anything. Lukaku, we all know he's worthless to Chelsea. They just don't want to pay his wages. They've taken the hit on the transfer fee ages ago. Don't forget, this time last season, we were talking about Victor Osimhen being sold for 145 million. The 100 million's disappeared in front of our eyes if you kept Lukaku and Casadei done. Do you know what? If they chucked in Kepa as well and called it 40 million, I wouldn't even mind. I think that could be exceptional. If you think this deal is unbelievable, make sure to smash a like on the video, because for me, Chelsea have to make this happen. And I want to chat to you guys, and I want to see some of you in the comments letting me know, if we get Victor Osimhen, is top 4 realistic? Because I was actually saying earlier that top 5 or 5th for me would be okay if we got Osimhen, but I've just been watching his highlights from the last 2 seasons. He's good enough to get us top 4, guys. He really, really is. If we get Victor Osimhen, Chelsea get top 4. I'm calling it now. Even with Maresca, even in being unproven, even with a ropey defence. So have the front 4 of potentially Cole Palmer and Nkunku, Neto and Osimhen, with Jackson waiting in the wings, potentially Raheem Sterling in the wings, Mudryk, Madueke. Oh my gosh. Chelsea get top 4 on that attack alone. That's going to be one of the best front 4s out there, isn't it? I think this could be exceptional. Lukaku was obviously a waste of money. But if you can use him in any way as a make weight for this deal, I think it's unbelievable. Going to have a bench full of wingers. Look, Foxes, I don't disagree. I think genuinely we may have a bench full of wingers, but right now you can live with that, can't you? You absolutely can. Ryan Davies, I've just liked the stream and subscribed to the channel. I've just came across it. Ryan, appreciate that a lot, my man. Love to welcome new people in. Obviously trying to go live a lot more often. We're absolutely smashing the likes right now as well. If we can hit 30 likes today, I think that would be unbelievable. If Lampard can get us top 4, then we can get it now, surely. And you know what? This is what I'm thinking. I think we've had worse teams in the past. We've had worse defences. And if you get Osimhen and you have Jackson and you have Nkunku and Palmer and Neto and Sterling, Mudryk maybe as well, Madueke maybe as well, they're going to be sneaking into the team. You can quite easily outscore the majority of Premier League teams. That's how I feel about this one. And I think that's what Chelsea need to do. I think this could be an unbelievable opportunity for Chelsea, and they absolutely cannot be turning this down. I'll show you the source if you want to see the source for the deal as well. It's coming through Matteo Di Napoli on Twitter. He's breaking it through Deadline Day Live. I can show you the screen. Give me 2 secs. But this is exceptional for Chelsea. This is unbelievable. I don't see how we're going to get away with this, to be perfectly honest with you, because this feels a little bit too good to be true. It feels a little bit criminal. Napoli have made a proposal to Chelsea for a player exchange. Chelsea would sign Victor Osimhen. Napoli would get Lukaku, Casadei, and 45 million euros. Euros. So it's not even pounds. It's probably just shy of 40 million pounds that you have to exchange for Victor Osimhen. I think that's crazy. Stefan says, I hate to say it, we're not going anywhere under this Maresca guy. He's simply just another yes man stooge, loser and a puppet. Look, I don't think it's fair to say that about Maresca yet. We haven't seen enough. I've seen some news that potentially we could be looking at a transfer ban in the coming years, which is why I think we might have been recruiting the way we have. And right now, with no competitive games played for Chelsea, it's too soon to suggest that Maresca's this yes man. We don't know that yet. If in a few weeks' time, it's evident to see that there's obvious cases of yes man syndrome being involved, this is crazy. But I think Victor Osimhen actually adds 15 goals to Chelsea, probably guaranteed, unless it goes horribly wrong with injuries. Wobo's saying, Dan, just brotherly advice, you don't want to do a monster, get caught with your pants on your ankles. Good signing if it happens. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say it's done, it's coming, but if Napoli have offered this deal, you know, the other deals, obviously Zubimendi was personal terms. I've seen them as well. I didn't like it, which is really annoying, but I've seen that Osimhen's turned down PSG as well. I'm listening to John Obi Mikel telling me that him and Drogba have been on it with Osimhen, telling him that Chelsea is the place to go. You need to follow in the history of some of the greatest African footballers to ever play the game. Maresca absolutely will not turn down Osimhen. No way. This guy had Jamie Vardy up front. Osimhen is similar to Jamie Vardy in the fact that he'll run in behind and he'll cause chaos. Inside the box, wow, unbelievable. Osimhen is lethal inside the box. I think this could be an exceptional opportunity for Chelsea. And if this offer's on the table, they can't turn it down. They absolutely can't turn it down. We're also in for a defender, says Mikel. Mikel, that would be music to my ears because that is the biggest area of concern I have right now. And I'm going to be honest. For me, I absolutely think that Chelsea are weak in that area. I definitely think we are weak in that area, to be honest. Maresca didn't look. Maresca might not want these players, but if he's taking them, then I'm sure he'll give them the opportunity. And do you know what? If you're Maresca and someone says to you, look, I can give you Pedro Neto. This guy was one of the highest assist makers in the Premier League last season. You're not turning it down. You're not saying no. I think this is important for Chelsea to assess correctly, value Casadei correctly, because we all know he's pretty much worthless. Even in football, he's probably worth 10 to 15 million tops. Value Lukaku correctly. Realise that he's dead wood and any money for Lukaku is better than nothing. And if that money's discount on a striker like Osimhen, this is crazy. This is absolutely has to be done for me. I'm pretty sure that Chelsea, Maresca, every single person, I saw breaking news yesterday that the technical staff have approved Osimhen. So why wouldn't they? I'd happily sell most any one of our centre-backs to bring the quality defender. Look, if we want to talk about defenders, I absolutely agree. I think there's 5 defenders at Chelsea that are good enough. They're good enough for the Premier League. If you're Fulham, you'd take them, as they did. If you're West Ham, you'd probably have them. If you're Wolves, you'd probably have them. If you're Chelsea and you're fighting for top 4, top 6, that's where I'd worry. If you want to compete in the big games against your Manchester City, your Arsenal, your Liverpool, your Spurs, they are the games where you have to have a centre-back that is a match winner. You know, like when we had Rudiger in that Champions League final, and he was a match winner defensively. He offered something that so many of our centre-backs don't now. And that's the issue for me. That I feel like we're lacking that. And if there was any way to find a way of bringing in a centre back as well, and it look, if it meant we brought in a centre back and didn't get Joao Felix, I'd probably take that, to be honest with you, because I feel like there's more room for a centre back of quality to get into this team than there is for Joao Felix. Dan Knight's making a really good point here, actually. I want to look at this. Let's give Enzo Maresca the first 5 games of the season. I think 5 is an absolute minimum. Look, I'm not sure about Maresca. I'm not sold on Maresca. But what I will say is, and I absolutely will make this point, he has to be given time. He's unproven. I do believe he has a lot of knowledge. And I think he needs to be given an opportunity to translate that knowledge into his coaching and his team. And he's got a load of new players as well. We've just got to see what happens here with Maresca. And if things aren't perfect for a while, I won't be surprised. I was chatting on Never a Foul a little bit earlier, and LB made a really, really good point that any youngsters anywhere, they are going to be obviously volatile in their performances. They can go up and down in terms of 1 minute they'll be really, really good. I think he was referring to Manchester United and Kobbie Mainoo. And then the next minute they can have a bad spell as well. And look, Chelsea's got a whole squad of players in a similar boat to Kobbie Mainoo. So we could have inconsistencies. But as long as we see the manager and the team trying to do the right thing and correcting mistakes, I can get behind it. And that's what annoyed me so much last year with Pochettino. People say I love Poch and I want him back. That's not the case by any means. I don't think he did good enough at Chelsea. But what he did do, or no, what he didn't do was for so long not correct his mistakes. And that was the biggest issue for me. They were so glaringly obvious and he wasn't able to do anything about it. Every time I've listened to Maresca post-match, he has identified the mistakes that we've all been privy to by watching the game. And for me, that is what I like about a manager, about a coach, whatever you want to call him. I think that is an important thing to see. It shows me that he understands the game. And if you can translate it in the right way back to the players and you can educate them, you can learn and fix those mistakes. And that's where I'll judge Maresca. If he's good at sort of solving that and changing that sort of part of the game, when these players make mistakes and they need to be educated or the team isn't doing exactly what he wanted. Remember only a couple of games ago, Maresca come out and he said, the high line's not right. It's a bad habit. I don't know if it's from last season, the season before. It's not what I want. I'm not coaching it. Against Inter Milan, that high line, it wasn't there. He'd already got rid of it quickly. So that says to me that with a couple of sessions to work on these players properly, he's addressed that. What we don't know with Maresca is the level his tactics will take him to. What we understand with this squad is we've got a very, very talented bunch of individuals. What we don't know about Maresca is, can he blend them all together and make them a really, really good team? But when you add in the quality, sometimes the quality can be enough to carry you through, even if they're not a great team and it's not really cohesive, and you can build up from there. If you add Osimhen to any other team in the top 4, you're talking about potentially starting to be in the conversation for trophies. So Chelsea adding Osimhen in outside the top 6 or top 6, if that's what we're seen as, you've got to be talking about us getting top 4. Look, I don't know if Osimhen is enough to go and put us back in the conversation for win the Premier League. I really don't think it is. I think there's too many variables this early on. But if you make that signing happen, that this deal looks too good to be true. But if you make it happen, Chelsea absolutely have to be back in that conversation for top 4. Fofana is uncertain. Colwell is overrated. Tosin isn't the level. Badiashile worries me. And Disasi isn't great. Well, look, I've got it here just down in the corner as well. Disasi and Chilwell are both evaluating and assessing their options. There's rumours that both of these could be gone. Disasi apparently is attracting interest from Italy, from France. Chilwell, I've got a funny feeling he ends up at Manchester United or something. I also saw a rumour that we may see Marcus Alonso rock up at Manchester United, which would kill me. I couldn't do it. I'd rather Alonso come back now to Chelsea and just sit on the bench, because that's one of the deepest, most heartfelt goodbye messages I've ever seen from a Chelsea player. And I would hate to see him go and play for another team in England. I know he's been at Sunderland, but That was odd. Maybe even Bolton, actually. That was a long time ago. Rudiger wasn't always a match winner. Well, no, probably not. I probably agree with that. I think he probably always had a good mentality. But yeah, there was a time when Rudiger wasn't amazing for Chelsea. I don't understand why Kanu isn't throwing his weight around like Obi. I even think he's probably a bigger star in Nigeria. I don't know about that. I don't know if Kanu is, because what I do know for a fact is that John Obi Mikel absolutely had like a cult following in Nigeria, and he is regarded in an exceptionally he's held in exceptionally high regard, and he was considered a number 10 and the star of the Super Eagles, I believe, for a moment, and that is now Osimhen. And Osimhen looks up to people like John Obi Mikel. If you listen to the podcast, John Obi Mikel and Osimhen thinks of Obi Mikel as a hero, and he wants to and thinks of Drogba as a hero, even though he's not Nigerian, he's African, and Osimhen looked up to him. And as a kid, it was Osimhen, and it was Osimhen wearing Chelsea or Manchester United shirts, I think. Well, Manchester United aren't in the market for Osimhen. Chelsea should absolutely make this deal happen. This is the best, most attractive, lucrative opportunity for Chelsea, in my opinion, that I've seen all summer. Because the two players going to Napoli, for us, are dead weight. They offer us nothing. They don't change our starting 11. They don't change our subs bench. Well, Lukaku's a different conversation, but you know he's not coming back. Have you seen his Twitter profile today? This guy, he's a little bit cringy, man. This relationship is absolutely in the dirt. And I hope for Lukaku, he gets this move to Antonio Conte, and he goes on to show everyone that he's still a quality striker, because I do believe that he is. I think his antics have actually hindered most people's footballing opinion of him. Let's see. Stephen makes a really good point. And I have to agree with this, because Stephen's saying we need to sort out defense first before thinking of Osimhen. And I kind of agree with this. Big up, bro. Welcome in. Welcome in, guys. If you're new, make sure to smash a like on this. We're aiming for 30 likes off of this stream today. We've got a load of people in here. That's literally less than half if we can make that happen. So that would be unbelievable. We're live across all the socials today. Make sure to drop a follow or subscribe if you haven't already. More and more lives will be coming this season covering Chelsea and football. We've even got Super Cup tonight, actually. I kind of just forgot about that. Anyway, let's go on Stephen's point. We need to sort out the defence before thinking of Osimhen. I have to agree. Absolutely agree. However, look, the defence for me should be Chelsea's priority. If we go and focus on the defence and we miss out on this deal of a lifetime for Osimhen, I would hate myself for even entertaining any other possibility. So as much as I think Chelsea's defence is an issue, if you can get Victor Osimhen in this deal, like, you know what it is? Imagine you've been looking at a T-shirt you want for weeks, and every time you went past the shop or you went online, that T-shirt was so expensive. You're like, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to save up for that. I'm going to get it. And then it got to the winter, and you were never going to wear your T-shirt because you'd always probably have a jacket over, and you're on your way out to go and get a new jacket. But on the way, you walk past, that T-shirt's on sale, half price. You're going to go and buy it, aren't you? And you buy it first, and you're still going to go and get the jacket. And I think that's what Chelsea have to do. They go and make this happen, and then they get on the phone to clubs like Crystal Palace and say, look, we like Mark Gay. We know we've got a sell-on clause. We'll have a little bit off the deal. We'll get some money off, go and sign him, hijack that Newcastle deal. I'd even pick up the phone for someone saying, here, Anderson. I was just about to say that. I think Anderson, for his age, quality centre-back. There's rumours he might go to Fulham, I think. I absolutely would make sure Osimhen happens first now if this deal's on the table. And I still think then we can go and get ourselves a centre-back. Centre-backs are available. They're not the hottest and most in-demand market, are they? We all know that. Dan, be more positive about Chelsea, bro. You're a little too doom and gloom. Look, I don't agree with that. And I hear so many people tell me that. I find it I'm going to get onto this point. I find it very difficult to sit here and accept Chelsea being ran in the way that it's ran when we've signed so many players that people don't know about. We've signed so many players who aren't quite good enough for Chelsea and spent so much money on them. We've had 4 managers who haven't achieved. Chelsea, is all over the place. We can't get a front of shirt sponsor. We're being ran in such a different way to what we were when we were so successful. I find it very difficult to accept the changes have been allowed to happen this easily and have no control over it as fans. So maybe I do get a little bit frustrated with how the club's being run when I've seen it be run in a way that has made Chelsea one of the most elite clubs in England. The reason it was valued at the value it was because of the people who were running it and made it the global brand and business that it became. Made it one of the most successful clubs in the country. But if we act positive and there's results on the pitch and we're doing things in the right manner, I will absolutely be positive. Hence why I can sit here right now and tell you that this Osimhen deal is unbelievable. That this Pedro Neto deal is one of the best transfers I've seen happen in ages at this club. The way we went about it, where it wasn't even leaked on social media and then it was announced, that's how transfers should hit, boys. Every single one of us couldn't believe our eyes when we opened Twitter to that news because it was like, hang on a minute, what? Where did this come from? And that's how transfers used to hit. This is what I was saying about Disasi, France and Italy. How good do we think Disasi was for us last season? Do we think Disasi was top 3 defenders for Chelsea last season? We had a lot of injuries last year. There was Thiago Silva, Chalobah, then who? Levi Colwell wasn't great and injured. Fofana injured. Badashile was rubbish. I think Disasi might have been our 3rd best centre-back last season. Let me know. If we sell Disasi, we're going to generate quite a fee. And I don't think, if I'm being honest, I don't think that Disasi has a future under Maresca. I don't think he does. And the weird thing is, right, if you go and look at the stats for Disasi, albeit there's a couple of mistakes that are pretty worrying, he actually, for a long period of time in the team, was really, really good with the ball. His retention stats and his passing stats for a defender, they're exceptional. And their they're not simple passes. Some of his passes, they're like quite they're risked. Like he's taking big risks on those passes. He's playing them through the lines, and they were successful. I didn't mind him. I just felt like there was that moment in the FA Cup that Maresca's well aware of, that was probably the turning point for him. I don't mind, and the one thing I will say is I think back to like the Manchester City game where Disasi was like throwing his body in front of the ball and he's cheering and he was so happy that he'd stop the ball going in. I don't think we see enough of defenders doing that anymore, and I can get behind that, and that makes me jump off my seat when you see Disasi heading the ball away or blocking it. I kind of like that. I think he's a great character. And if he's happy sitting on the bench, fair enough. But I don't think Axel Disasi is going to be happy sitting on the bench. I think he's good enough to go and play somewhere. And I definitely think he's good enough to play Europa League football. That's for sure. Disasi reminds me of Rudiger under Lampard. Yeah, I hear that shout. I do hear that. Definitely. I think Rudiger was probably a little bit faster. I believe the players in the defence is not the issue. The man-to-man system is not working. Look, Master Teacher makes a good point here. The man-to-man system is not working. Zonal marking would be ideal. Look, it's a difficult one. And man-to-man and zonal wouldn't really be discussed when you're in and out of possession. It's more at corners. But there is definitely a process here where in Maresca's rest defence, he kind of sets them up that they are in man-to-man battles. They're in one-on-one defensive situations. And that probably takes quite a bit of getting used to because there's not many coaches or managers in world football that are telling their defence to do that. And if they can get it right, but it will take a lot of time, we have defenders in our team that physically can win their one-on-one battles. They're quick, they're agile, they're mobile. They're all a pretty good level on the ball. They're not amazing, but they're an okay level. They can play out from the back if they needed to. That's what I think Maresca's trying to do here. And I think that's probably what Chelsea are trying to do, is have physical, imposing centre-backs that are quick, strong, agile, can jump, can move well. That in this rest defence, when there's 3 of them left at the back or 4 of them left, ready for the opposing team's counter-attack, they all go one-on-one and defend their man. That could be exceptional. But, and you have to remember this, that will take a long time. And there will be so many times when they lose those battles that they struggle and we concede goals because of it. And you kind of see it with that Inter Milan goal when they came straight through the middle of us, because people all of a sudden didn't know where their men were, didn't know where their one-on-one defender situation should have been in that instance. And because Inter Milan are so well drilled under Inzaghi, they scored straight away. But then actually second half, we dealt with it. Players like Renato Vega came on, looked great, didn't he? Really, really made an impression for me. I think he looked really, really good. So this defensive situation for me is just going to take a while. I don't think it's good enough right now. And if Maresca gets it right, okay. But the one thing I will say is if you can bring in a couple of players to add a bit of quality and help lead that back line in the situations that they need that bit of experience, that would be what I was looking for as a Chelsea fan, to be honest with you. But as much as I agree with the defence probably being the weakest and the area that needs the most focus on in terms of recruitment, you can't walk away from this Osimhen deal without Osimhen signing for Chelsea. Do you think Roman right now with FFP would run us any better right now? Yeah, I do. I 100% do. If Roman Abramovich had 1.3 billion to spend, he would not have spent it as rashly and in the way that the owners have done in the amount of time that they have. He just wouldn't have. He just wouldn't have. So that's what I have to say, to be honest with you, to that. I think considering how well Roman Abramovich ran Chelsea in the FFP era, considering the fact that we still won a Champions League and other trophies, absolutely think Roman would have done the right thing. Guys, our like goal for this one is 30. We are literally 6 likes away from hitting 30 likes for this stream. So if we could do that, that would be amazing. That's what I want to see, guys. Breaking news today, Osimhen has been offered to Chelsea by Napoli. This isn't Chelsea asking for Osimhen. Osimhen has been offered to us because they want Lukaku so much. But they also said, give us 45 million and Casadei, and we can make this deal happen. I genuinely think that... Wait, don't you think Osimhen's salary... Yeah, right, okay. I think Osimhen's salary maybe has been an issue in this deal. But I've seen rumours that this is already done. It's already tied up. It's already, apparently, already agreed in terms of personal terms. Look, if we have to pay Osimhen 200 grand a week, I don't think it's the end of the world. I really don't. If Osimhen's happy to come in and accept Chelsea's personal terms and work on bonuses and score goals to make sure he gets paid the money he wants, I can live with that. I think Osimhen has achieved more than the majority of these players. And if he's in the team and he walks into the dressing room, it's a big name. There's arrogance here with Osimhen when he walks into that dressing room. It's like, I'm Osimhen. I tell you what happens. I tell you how to play me the ball. You know, like Nkunku. Nkunku scored 40 goals. He can walk in and go, yeah, pay me the money. I'm a French international. When I'm fit, I'm going to World Cups, Euros. Okay, the injuries have been an issue, but Osimhen's on the same level. Osimhen's a superstar in Nigeria. You can't turn down the opportunities in terms of marketing and the name just being on everyone's lips in Africa. If Osimhen goes to Chelsea, this is a huge deal. So Chelsea have to make this happen. And for me, the salary is minimal in comparison to some of the players. Lukaku's getting paid 125 grand more a week if Osimhen costs 200 grand. Look, let's move on to Felix because people are asking for that, and I've seen a few. People talk about Mats Hummels. Mats Hummels apparently isn't ideal. Apparently in the dressing room, he's a bit toxic. It's the reason he didn't go to the World Cup. It's the Euros. It's the reason Bayern Munich didn't want him anymore as well. So for me, I probably wouldn't take him. Big up, Dan, one of the few voices of reason on YouTube. Yeah, look, I try to be. I say what I see. I don't like to get too drastically hung up on things in terms of things I haven't seen evidence for, basically. And I try and always base my footballing opinion on what I've seen. And if I haven't seen it, then I struggle to give an opinion. It's as simple as that. And right now for Chelsea, we are all sitting here in a very hopeful position that it all works out in terms of our club's success, because a lot of these players don't have the evidence to back up the reason we signed them. But then Cole Palmer didn't, and look what happened. So that's why we can have reason to be excited. But when you're signing the likes of Neto and Osimhen on top of last season's squad, we finished sixth last year. They're two incredible additions. They really are. Look, let's talk about Joao Felix, because this deal is crazy for me. This deal is all over the place. It's absolutely a mess. Chelsea view it as three separate deals: Omarodian, Felix, and Conor Gallagher. Whereas Atletico Madrid view them all linked. And I think even Alvarez was probably thrown in that, but a little bit separate. They've managed to pay the money for Alvarez and get that done. They've done everything for Conor Gallagher, but now Atletico Madrid can't find 30 million. Chelsea have to protect their asset in Conor Gallagher, whether they like him or not, whether they're making him train with the first team or the under-21s. They value him at £30 million. If you had a house that was worth £30 million, you'd look after it. So that's what they're doing. They're looking after their asset. They're bringing him home, making sure that he's training here at Chelsea. He can be looked after. Any injuries, fitness-wise, he's in the best possible shape to be sold. And then I think Atletico Madrid knew they wanted Conor Gallagher, knew they couldn't afford him, and told Jorge Mendes to offer Joao Felix. And I think Chelsea said, look, we'll pay the money that Omarodian was going to cost us for Joao Felix, because we've already agreed a deal. And Atletico Madrid turned around and said no. And I think they're stalled. And I think now Conor Gallagher's left in limbo. I don't think he's been treated very well, by the way. I actually think it's really disappointing to see the way that Chelsea have treated a couple of their players. Trev, the way they've treated players in the past. Conor Gallagher, look, they offered Conor a contract and he didn't sign it. All right. But we all know there's issues with that contract. Yes, the money was there. But when you're Conor Gallagher and you're the third best player in the team last season, fourth best player in the team, highest appearance maker, most minutes, you look around and go, they've just offered Philip Jorgensen from Villarreal, who's played one professional season, 7 years. Why are they offering me 2+1? That's disrespectful. I'm Chelsea through and through. I've given my life to this club. And then they go and put him in the under-21s and tell him he's not welcome. Come on. He doesn't deserve that. He doesn't deserve that. Whether you think he's good or not, no one deserves to be treated like that, especially by their boyhood club. However, Joao Felix, obviously, if Conor Gallagher's going to leave and we're going to cash in on him, we have to sign Joao Felix, because otherwise I don't think this deal happens. Now, does Joao Felix fit in the team? Starting 11? No. Is numbers-wise Joao Felix good enough for Chelsea? No. I don't think anywhere he's been, he's proved that his numbers are good enough. He was signed for over 100 million for Atletico Madrid. If you go on transfer market now, his value's at like 35 million. The decline is 100 million in like 4 or 5 years, I think. It's absolutely crazy. But don't forget about it. When he was here under Graham Potter and Lampard, wow, we loved him. Think about how good it was to watch Joao Felix play football. All right, he didn't score loads of goals, but he'd nutmeg a defender and he'd take a man on and he'd try a shot from 25, 30 yards and he'd crash it against the post. He won headers. Joao Felix was a really exciting player to watch and the type of player that lifted you off your seat. And if Chelsea go and get Joao Felix and we lose Conor Gallagher, well, then I think technically you're getting a better player. I really do. I think Joao Felix technically is probably levels above Conor Gallagher. But in terms of what he offers, don't forget Joao Felix's work rate really wasn't that good. He's a bit of a luxury. But if Nkunku gets injured like he did last season, and then you bring in Joao Felix, that's not that bad, is it? You know, if Joao Felix is on the bench and then Nkunku gets injured or Cole Palmer's tired because he's playing every game and you need to rest him and you don't want him playing a Conference League game out in Baku or something, Joao Felix can come and play that game. Joao Felix is on the cards to Aston Villa. You're stopping a top 4 rival signing Joao Felix. I think this is a good deal for Chelsea to get done. But right now, I've got a funny feeling it's on the back burner. I think they're working and discussing it. They don't want Conor Gallagher, and they are well aware that this is the best time to sell him. And they're well aware that Joao Felix is the best opportunity to be able to sell him for a deal they'd already agreed on without selling him to a Premier League rival. Joao Felix, numbers-wise, did not do bits for Chelsea, Joey. Never, ever said he didn't. Joao Felix did not do bits for us numbers-wise. Neto and Nkunku are injury-prone, so bringing in Felix is brilliant competition. Exactly that. Joao Felix offers consistency. I don't think his injury record is that bad. Look, he's not this amazing player for output. We all have to remember that. But come on. If you get to watch Joao Felix play football and he's coming off the bench and that's your squad depth, you're doing something right. And for me, that's the reason I'd go and get him. And if he suddenly turns out to be this unbelievable player and he starts putting up the numbers, the money you can generate off of Joao Felix, Benfica have already showed it. Benfica sold Joao Felix at 18 for over 100 million. He's had countless big teams come after him again. Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, obviously, have had him before. Chelsea have had him. If you even get a bit out of Joao Felix, you can make profit on him straight away. I absolutely guarantee that. Guys, we're 10 likes off of 50 likes on this. That would be unbelievable. That's probably one of the like records in terms of a live for me. So if we could hit that today, that would be exceptional. There's over 100 of us in here. I really appreciate the support. We're all here probably listening and talking about Chelsea and this Osimhen deal because, look, people are worried about Chelsea if they get Osimhen. I can tell you that right now. Eyebrows were raised when Chelsea signed Pedro Neto because everyone thought Chelsea was signing Dewsbury Hall and Tosins, Championship, bang average Prem players. Neto got people talking. Victor Osimhen and Neto arriving in the same window is the levels that Chelsea used to be at. And that gets people talking. Chelsea are one of the most talked about clubs over the last 20 years for a reason. And that's what I want to see. I'm hearing all this Joao Felix didn't do bits for us. Then who did? What Chelsea player did or played the way Felix did? Yeah, exactly right. Joao Felix looked like he could score or shoot, but he didn't score many goals. But he did do bits for us. Joao Felix was an exciting player. I'm not going to sit here and say he didn't do bits. That's not true. Joao Felix was good. Joao Felix was a quality player. And if it wasn't for Pochettino, I actually think he would have stayed at Chelsea. Here we go. Atletico and Chelsea are still trying to find agreement for Conor Gallagher. Joao Felix remains part of the discussions also with Jorge Mendes, but no breakthrough. This is what I'm saying. I think this is on the back burner. I really, really do. I think they're working on this. I think Jorge Mendes, he's a super agent. He gets deals done. Think how quiet it went for Pedro Neto. No one knew anything. It wasn't being leaked. It was a tight-lipped affair. And I think that's what this deal is going to be. And I think for Chelsea's biggest transfers, it's quiet. And that's the only thing with Osimhen is that this seems to be really public. But Napoli aren't. Napoli, everything gets discussed in the public eye in Napoli. And that's why it could be loud, because the information's coming out of Naples rather than Chelsea. Chelsea regarding Osimhen have been really, really quiet. Chelsea regarding Lukaku have been really, really quiet. But if this happens, it's unbelievable. People saying Chelsea don't need Felix. Well, we don't need Felix. But you're not going to say no if it means you get him for a cut price deal. This is what I mean. Chelsea needs squad depth for Nkunku. They need squad depth for Cole Palmer. You can't, look at Arsenal. Arsenal play Saka every week. The bloke's exhausted. If Saka can't have a rest, he's going to be burnt out in a couple of seasons. So for me, you absolutely have to have squad depth. And Chelsea used to have squad depth in abundance. But if Joao Felix comes in, absolutely expect Sterling, Madueke, and Mudryk to start thinking and looking at their options and considering leaving. I'll be honest with you. I just don't see that all three of those remain at the club if Joao Felix and Neto come in. But just think about it. You've got a boring, cold Conference League night out in some random country in Europe. And then you get entertained by Joao Felix playing football. That sounds like a good deal to me. And Nkunku's rested, Cole Palmer's rested. And then you rock up for your Premier League game. And those guys are ready, they're fit and firing, and they go and win you the game and play unbelievable Maresca ball. Sounds good to me. It sounds good to me. If I had to pick one of the three, chat, let me know. If you had to pick one of the three, Sterling, Madueke, or Mudryk, who would you sell? Because for me, that's what kind of, I find that a really difficult conversation. I think Mudryk is the player that I think out of the three has not been good enough. But I also think he's the player that raises the least amount of money right now. I think Madueke to Newcastle is the deal you start evaluating. I really do. What's the point of trying to sell Sterling, then bring in Felix? I think it's the wages, mate. Joao Felix is happy to take a wage cut, apparently. Happy to take a big wage cut. Sterling's on too much money, and I think the board tried to act in a way before where they signed players with big names for big money, and they looked at it and went, Koulibaly didn't work, Lukaku's not worked, Sterling's not worked, Cucurella didn't start off well, Wesley Fofana's been injured all the time. All of these players are on huge wages, Kepa on huge wages. They don't want to do that anymore. They don't want people coming to Chelsea for a payday. They want people coming to Chelsea who are happy to work on a bonus structure, still get paid great money, and then work hard. And look at Cole Palmer. He's the perfect example. He was brought in on some of the lowest wages in the squad last season in terms of how many games that he played. And look at what he did. He worked his socks off. He's got a 2-year contract extension. His money's doubled. If that isn't the perfect example for every other Chelsea player to go, wow, actually, if we perform, they're going to pay us some money. They don't want people like Raheem Sterling that if he scores 10 goals in a season, but gets paid 300 grand a week, he's happy with it. They don't want that. They've made their mistake and they're learning from it. And actually, as Chelsea fans, look, we want the big names coming in, but we don't want players, the big names coming in and not want it. You remember when we got Ballack and we got Shevchenko and other players like Fabregas, they come in on massive money, but they're a different breed of footballer. They were a different breed. They wanted to keep winning. They came into a winning environment. If you bring a player in right now on massive money at Chelsea, and I mean massive, by the way, 200's a cap for me. Anything above that, I think is excessive. And I think that's where complacency slips in. If Osimhen comes in on 200 grand, though, for me, you make that happen. You do. Because I believe Osimhen is the difference between Chelsea getting Champions League football and not, actually. I've literally just been and looked at all the footage of Osimhen. And if you get it right with him, wow, that's an unbelievable player. He had a bad injury last season, and there were 10 goals that he didn't score, probably because of that injury. And people are saying, oh, this season he wasn't as good. But you know what? Looking at the footage, okay, he wasn't as good. But he was injured for most of the time. He still got 15, 16 league goals, and he didn't even want to be there. Imagine if he comes to a place that he's happy. For me, the Victor Osimhen deal is like our second chance at getting it right when we got it wrong with Lukaku. Lukaku was the answer. That's how we all felt, and it went horribly wrong. This time around again, it feels like Osimhen is the answer. And to get it for 45 million, plus moving off 2 players that are absolute dead weight, this is unreal. I think it could be unbelievable business. Clearlake have built the second best team in the league after City. Look, I think look, I hear your point. I think they've got a good squad and there's potential in our team. The difference is that Arsenal, Liverpool, Villa, Spurs, Newcastle at times have all, Manchester United at times, have all finished above this Chelsea side that Clearlake have put together. And that's the issue, isn't it? Is that there's no evidence to suggest that this is the second best team because we haven't managed to finish there. If everyone can stay fit and the manager's good enough, that's when this team starts moving up the league. It really is. You can't sell Madueke, who's our second best right winger after Palmer. Look, I'll be honest, guys. Pedro Neto's our second best winger on the right hand side after Palmer. Now, Pedro Neto is absolutely better than Madueke. So Madueke to Newcastle seems like a good deal for me. I feel like if they sell Almiron, that's a pretty good buy for them. I'd be happy to see Madueke go if we made profit on him to Newcastle. I think Madueke's got a high ceiling, by the way. But I also think Madueke, you can improve on him. You definitely can. If you ask Newcastle whether they wanted Pedro Neto or Madueke, they'd go for Pedro Neto every day of the week. Then terminated. Oh, sorry, I don't know if that one's for me. Even if Osimhen gets injured, we've still got Jackson. This is the thing. It's all about the squad depth. If we're going to go and play in Europe every Thursday and then play on the Sunday, you need a Jackson and you need an Osimhen. Don't forget, we used to have Drogba, Anelka, and Torres for a while. Come on, guys. And Daniel Sturridge. Chelsea have always had a number of strikers, and it ups the level. We used to have Giroud, and he'd be back up to some strikers that weren't good enough, like Morata, and you'd have good competition in the squad. Think how many strikers came in to challenge Drogba. And think how many times Torres had. Look, Torres wasn't great for Chelsea in the whole, but think how many times Torres had moments. Think how many times Loic Remy had moments. Demba Ba had moments. You need absolute squad depth and competition to get the best out of your team. And Jackson is a young guy, and he needs to understand that. And you know what? I think Jackson would look up to Osimhen. I think he would, because I think he'd look at Osimhen and go, wow, I could learn a bit. Because let me tell you right now, Osimhen, whether he signs for Chelsea or not, inside the 18-yard box is lethal. Whether it's either foot or in the air, he is fantastic. Tammy Abraham, Havertz, Werner, HR, this is exactly what I'm on about. Jackson needs to understand that squad depth is needed. He can't be in a team where his competition for number 9 is Broja. It's just not feasible. There's actually talk that Broja could end up going to Stuttgart with an option to buy. So that's the thing for me, is Jackson's a fantastic player. He's done really, really well last season. They're going to give him a new contract. They're going to give him a pay rise. They're probably going to whack 2 years on his contract. They're backing Jackson, but they're saying, look, to compete on all fronts like Chelsea should be doing, we need you to keep doing what you're doing, and we need to bring in another striker that can do that as well. And look, Osimhen's injury record, it's not amazing. And I feel like I do keep saying this with so many players that are signing for Chelsea at the moment. But Jackson is fantastic backup. If you say Jackson wasn't here and you had Osimhen and you bought on Broja, you'd be concerned. Or Mark Gui, like, they're not good enough to be leading the line. Even though Mark Gui's really impressed me in pre-season, by the way. If you know that you've got a 17-goal a season Nicholas Jackson waiting in the wings, or playing midweek, or playing that Sunday game when we've had a really tough European game, that's where you want the squad to be deep, and you want an abundance of talent. So Jackson having competition will up the levels. Exactly what Sean is saying here. Anywhere, look at the midfield. Casado, Lavia, Enzo, Dewsbury Hall all being fit will up the levels of that midfield. Having 5 defenders, it should up the levels of all the defenders, because they all want to play. They all want to play. And look at Malo Gusto. Reece James, right? It was always, Reece is injured, we're struggling at right back. Azpilicueta is going to come in, or Dizassi's going to play right back. Whenever Malo Gusto was fit, he's impressed so much. Now we're in a position to sit here and go, if Reece gets injured, we've got the 3rd best right back in the league in Malo Gusto. That's what squad depth gives you. Everyone told us probably you don't need Malo Gusto. Why are you signing him? What's the point in that? Look at how good he's been for us. Everyone told us you don't need Cole Palmer. You've got wingers everywhere. You don't need him. I remember that conversation. As Chelsea fans, we were like, yeah, it'd be great for the bench. He turned out to be our best player. And this is why I can get behind some things Clearlake are doing. Because I don't mind that they have all these players in a way, because one of them's going to turn out quality. The issue I have is that at what point does it create, or do we lose harmony in the squad because there's far too many players? That's the real issue. Guys, I actually can't believe how many people are in this live right now. I actually can't. There's over 200. If we can hit 100 likes, half of you smash the like button. That would be unbelievable. Likes are coming more and more on this channel. We're live on all the socials today. It's a pleasure speaking to all of you. I'm seeing so many new faces in the chat. I love speaking to you guys about this. I want to know your thoughts. Did Chelsea make top 4? Let me know that right now in the chat. If they sign Osimhen, that is. If they sign Osimhen. If you think they can do it without Osimhen, let me know. But the other thing I want to know is, if we sign Joao Felix, Sterling, Madueke, or Mudryk, who goes? Let me know that. That's what I want to see in the chat right now. I like this channel. Breath of fresh air. No crying. No moaning. Big up. Oh, I hate to let you down, Ricky, but if we lose, if Chelsea lose, man, wow. I might not be the happiest guy around. But yeah, honestly, guys, appreciate all the new subs and likes coming in. We're on the way up to 100 likes, which is absolutely unbelievable. It was always Aspi at right back or Ruben. Do you remember when Ruben used to play at right back? It's kind of crazy, isn't it? You know what? This team, Juventus, I think we keep an eye on them. I think they don't want Chiesa, do they? And I think they're looking at Chelsea as the perfect winger replacement exists at Chelsea for Chiesa. I think they need to load off Chiesa. They need to get rid of him. And then I think they will genuinely be in a position to potentially pick up the phone to Sterling or Mudryk. I think Mudryk, if Mudryk leaves or he goes out on loan, I'll be happy because I think for his development, that's the best possible thing. But it would hurt me because I want Mudryk to do well. I want him to be good for Chelsea. I think we all like Mudryk, but I just don't think it's working out right now. But that player that we saw against Liverpool in his debut, that excited every single one of us. Yes, Nina, how are we doing? Are you looking forward to the season? Good to have you in here. Chelsea will definitely make top 4 with Osimhen as the arrowhead. Dennis, this is what I like to hear. I think this is why that deal has to happen for me. It has to happen. You can't turn down this offer. If this is coming out of Napoli and it's true, and it's 45 million, all you have to part with is 45 million and 2 players that mean nothing to Chelsea. Oh my gosh, make it happen. Tyreek George, for me, Tyreek George is getting a loan. I don't think, unless he sticks around at Chelsea, I really don't think, he's going to have many minutes this season. With the additions we've made, if Pedro Neto had been on the preseason tour, Tyreek George wouldn't have got any minutes. Mudryk with an option to buy. Now, this would hurt. An option. Okay. Yeah. I thought if you said obligation, I'd worry. I really want him. If Mudryk goes out on loan and starts cooking, we bring him straight back, by the way, and we say, come on, whatever you've learned, do it for us. Because I think there's so much raw ability in Mudryk that he could be absolutely amazing. But the issue is that we just haven't seen it enough. But think when Mudryk's been good, he looks unbelievable, doesn't he? I think we're cutting it close on top 4, considering need time to gel. I hear you, Sean. I definitely hear you on this. If we take as much time to gel as we did under Pochettino last season, I'm not sure top 4 becomes a possibility because I think you lose so much. You lose so much traction on the top 4 and they'll be pulling away from us. And we did an incredible job last season to even get close to that battle. I think, what do we finish? 3 or 6 points off of top 4? We did a really, really good job at getting ourselves back in amongst that discussion. And we were obviously the outsiders for that. Really, really, really were. And even up until the final couple of games, we were at like 8th. And to move up to 6th was a fantastic job from all involved. But it just took too long to gel. It really, really did. And for me, that's where Maresca has to do a better job. And the one advantage Maresca has over Pochettino in this situation is this squad of players already know each other better than they did last year. And that's why I'm hoping he doesn't take as long. What's it fair to say? Pochettino took 30 games for his team to gel last season. Ricky says, Osimhen is the last piece of the puzzle. He gets top 4 and a trophy. I love Felix as well because he isn't coming to be our savior. He's coming to add to the squad. How can anyone be mad at that? Yeah, I completely agree with the Joao Felix thing. If Joao Felix comes back, we get to enjoy him. There's no pressure on Joao Felix to be the man because we already have Cole Palmer and Nkunku. And then Joao Felix can come on in the games where we need to rest players or there's injuries or we just rotate in the squad and we get to enjoy a player like Joao Felix play football for Chelsea. And think how much joy that brought us before. Chelsea should walk away or reject Inter Milan's offer. Julius, I'm going to be honest with you right now. I haven't seen this news. Who's the offer for? Jonathan David, that one doesn't excite me at all. Jonathan David, for me, probably isn't what Chelsea should be looking at. Look, if we sign Jonathan David, I think we stay in a similar position in the league. If we sign Osimhen, he propels us upwards. There's a clear upwards trajectory with Osimhen. And I've said this so many times. If you walk onto a football pitch, Jonathan David's there, and you're the centre-back of like your Ruben Diaz or your Gabriel or your Mickey van der Ven or Romero, and you see Jonathan David, you're not worried. You go, I can deal with him. I can cope with him. If you walk onto the pitch and you see Victor Osimhen and you know who Victor Osimhen is, and you know he's lethal, and you know he's going to turn in behind and run you all game, you know he can lose his man at corners and crosses so easily. He can finish with both feet. He's lethal in and out of the box. You start worrying. You go, I've got to mark him all game. And then you start getting dragged out of position, and it makes it really difficult for you to keep up and keep aware of everything going on around. Do you see what I'm saying? A player like Victor Osimhen causes issues before he's even kicked a ball, because he gets into the players' minds. He's intimidating. It's the same with Haaland. Players are worried about Erling Haaland a week before they play him. And this is where he absolutely makes a difference for me for Chelsea and moving up the table, because I think he's absolutely fantastic. He comes with a reputation, and it's a pretty affordable deal. Yes, the wages are a question mark, but in terms of the money that needs to be moved around, we could sell 3 players this window and make 100 million, like more, easily. So 45 million seems like nothing. Absolutely an unbelievable opportunity for Chelsea to make this happen. It really, really is. We're 13 likes away from 100 likes on this live, guys. There's easy enough people in here to drop a like on that to get us to 100. If you can, I'd really, really appreciate it. Drop a like for Victor Osimhen potentially coming to Chelsea. Nah, look, let's be realistic. Osimhen's not better than Haaland. I think some parts of Osimhen's game might be better than Haaland, by the way. I really do. I think this is going to sound ridiculous for the size difference, but I actually think Osimhen's heading is better than Haaland's. Haaland's even said it himself. He needed to work on his heading. What is Broja still doing at Chelsea? I don't know. I don't know how Broja's still at Chelsea, man. I thought this was done. I felt like after last season, this was done. The opportunity for him kind of disappeared. The fact he got on pre-season tour is crazy for me. Considering how other assets that have given way more to Chelsea are being like, how is Trevor? You know, Trevor Chalobah's not an issue. He's not a problem. How on earth is Trevor Chalobah being treated in the way that he is when like Broja can literally come on the pre-season tour? Roy Sessing says, great channel. Roy here from South Africa. Osimhen will definitely get us up top. Felix is a very exciting player of experience. Maresca for me, high value, less penalty fights. Roy, I agree with every single thing. Every single thing. Pleasure having you here to watch, Roy. Appreciate that. That's fantastic to see people letting me know their thoughts and if they're enjoying the content. Really, really appreciate that. You know what's crazy as well is I'm literally sat here in England and I've got people from South Africa and everywhere like chatting. This is unbelievable, guys. It's great to see where people are from, where they're tuning in from. I love this community that we're building here on this channel right now. Osimhen is the right figure. And this is John Obi Mikel knows what Chelsea's about. He knows what Chelsea needs. He knows what the fans want from Chelsea players. And he keeps saying this. He keeps saying that Osimhen is the right figure. He's the right player to lead the line and be Chelsea's striker. Think about how many strikers with weak mentalities have come to Chelsea and it's not worked. Think about the players that come to Chelsea and they're arrogant and they know how good they are and they know what they offer. They're the players that thrive at Chelsea as strikers. They don't just do well, they thrive. Giroud, Etus, Demba Bars, Loic Remis, they're all arrogant and they won't even start in every game. Then you get the likes of Diego Costa, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, Drogba's. They're arrogant. They know how good they are. They bully defenders. They score any type of goal, every type of goal. They're the players that thrive at Chelsea. And this is what Mikel is saying. He absolutely is the perfect type of striker to lead the line for Chelsea. And I don't disagree with this. And he knows him. He knows him as a person as well. He knows Didier. He knows Osimhen. And he can see the similarities. Even with Osimhen fans, look, I hear this. But my hoping is that Osimhen is good enough to make the difference and remove the problems going forward so that Maresca can focus on defensively improving these guys because they're young enough to get better. Right now, I don't think they're good enough. but he can work on his system and he can work on improving these guys. And hopefully, because there's no issues up front, because we're scoring goals and it's our strongest area and there's no weaknesses, he can focus on that defense and fix the issues that are there. And then we start moving up the table. We really do. And maybe, just maybe, you start to see Badashile, Fofana, Levi Colwell start reaching their potential and putting in game after game after game at the levels we want and expect to see from these guys. Chelsea must stop signing Felix because Noni is the best upcoming player. Who can give more pressure with the speed he has? Problem is, he doesn't give good defensive combination. Noni's defensive work improved last season under Pochettino. But look, I hear this a little bit. I think a couple of our wingers, I'd worry about them tracking back. Joao Felix defensively, it's not really there, is it? We know that. We saw him play for us. Joao Felix wasn't in the side to give something to us defensively. And I think pressing-wise, I agree with what you're saying about Noni Madueke. In pre-season, off the ball, he's looked really, really good. But Madueke isn't going to want to be back up. He isn't. He knows what he's about. He knows how good he can be. And if the Newcastle opportunity is there for him, believe me, he'll go. But this overemphasis on wages, since when did Chelsea fans care about 200 grand? Yeah, this is what I mean. If you are signing a player that gets you Champions League football, 200 grand is cheap, especially when Lukaku's on 300. How far with the exit of Arrizabalaga, Broja and Lukaku? Well, look, Lukaku's probably the closest it's been. I think with this offer on the table, it's probably the closest it's been. Arrizabalaga, I don't believe Kepa will be here come after deadline day. I really don't. Look, I'll be honest. I don't know where Kepa's future is. I'm not going to lie. I don't know where it is. But right now, what I do know is that I genuinely don't think he'll be here past deadline day. And with Broja, it looks like a deal with Stuttgart is being worked on with a loan with an option to buy for 20 million. If we can get rid of Broja, Lukaku, Kepa, Chilwell could bring a lot of ease in the squad. Look, it brings in a bit of ease, but it also frees up the wage bill. Lukaku is worthless to Chelsea right now, apart from reducing how much Osimhen costs. Chilwell apparently is not going to get into Maresca's team. So Maresca is probably happy if Chilwell goes, which is a bit of a shame for me. I like Chilwell. I think there's moments in the Chelsea side when he's been absolutely fantastic. He's a bit of a leader in the dressing room. The players talk about Ben Chilwell being someone that shows them how things should be. He's a good pro, and he works well with the youngsters that are coming through. He apparently worked really well with Alfie last year, and he's kind of helped players to settle. The same with how Raheem Sterling's helped Madueke and other players to settle as well. And you lose that if Ben Chilwell goes. And for me, Ben Chilwell walks into Manchester United's side with the injuries they've got a left back right now. So, yeah, look, I'd be happy if Ben Chilwell left for a decent amount of money. I wouldn't want to see us take a low offer for him just to get him out of the squad, though. I really wouldn't. But I do think his time is probably up now. I think Maresca's kind of prejudged him. Ben Chilwell technically could probably get into this Chelsea team, but right now, I don't think there's space for him in this system. And I think Ben Chilwell's off the back of some weird performances towards the end of the last season. I think about his time with England, and I think about a couple of performances towards the end of, well, what was it? Probably before he got injured, when he returned from one of his injuries last season. He didn't look great for us, did he? And Cucurella come back in and kind of look levels above Chilwell. And I think that's the issue, isn't it? Is that Chilwell really is taking a little bit of time to start getting going again after his injuries. Guys, there's so many comments here. I'm trying to keep up. I appreciate all the support. We've smashed 100 likes, which is absolutely unbelievable. There's 300 people in here. This is unreal, guys. So I appreciate every single one of you being in. It's a pleasure to see every single one of you. Mentality is the most important. Osimhen gives me Costa vibes. Fight for the badge. I hear it, by the way. I absolutely hear it. I will back a player that is fighting for the badge over a player that is luxury, that doesn't care all day, every day, even if they're not as good. My voice is going, if you can't tell. Chelsea shouldn't make a mistake on Napoli. Stupid offer. They want to play smart Lukaku and Castagne. Look, Chelsea shouldn't be desperate for Osimhen. And the fact that this offer's on the table, it doesn't show desperation. It shows that actually Napoli are desperate to make a deal happen for Lukaku. And I didn't see this as a play. And I didn't see this as a smart move from Chelsea earlier. But after speaking with LB, he told me that this is probably a smart move from Chelsea. It's a play here from Todd Bodie and Clearlake and Eghbali to try and get Napoli to make something happen. Unbelievable. If this works out, wow, unbelievable. Why is Sanchez the goalie? Look, the goalkeeper situation at Chelsea, there's an issue. There really, really is. I genuinely don't know what's happening with our keepers. Petrovic, they're trying to find a move for him. Sanchez, does anyone in this chat think he's good enough, man? Does anyone think he's good enough? Because I don't. I'm not going to lie. I don't think he's good enough. I think at so many different times last season, he really didn't show enough to be Chelsea's number one. And then Jorgensen's come in. He's raw. He's not 100% convinced me in what I've seen, albeit a very, very small amount. He's played one season for Villarreal, and I've watched a lot of his footage. I sat there and used up most of my Y-Scout on him because I felt like if he's better than Sanchez, we've got a good keeper coming in here, and it hasn't happened. So, yeah, when I see Liverpool being linked with Mamadashvili for the similar price to Jorgensen, that hurts me. Because the Mamadashvili I saw for Georgia at the Euros is easily good enough to be Chelsea's number one if he's competing with Sanchez, Petrovic and Jorgensen. It's crazy. Petrovic is average. And ever since I saw Petr Cech talk about him and say the mistakes and the obvious errors that he was making, I kind of never saw him get better. And I think that's the issue, is that realistically, is he's good and he looked better than Sanchez because he was making sure he was just trying to do his job. And Sanchez worried about other things first. But realistically, Petrovic isn't even good enough to be Chelsea's goalkeeper. He is if you're happy in mid-table. But if you want to get into the top four, you need a proper keeper. Why are you not sucking off rivals right now? CFC Blue, I don't know where you get that agenda from, mate. I just say what I see. I tell you the situation exactly the same with Chelsea on every other channel and mine. My opinion doesn't change. Well, it changes, obviously, with what happens and if certain issues are changing at Chelsea. But my opinion doesn't change. I just say what I see. I think this is a stupid take. People love to jump on this hype train. I'm not there to suck off any rivals. I don't care if a rival likes me or not. As a person, I do, but if they choose to not like me because of my football opinion, then that's on them. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. I'm not sucking off rivals. I'm not twerking for rivals. It's an absolute joke. I genuinely think that people really need to listen to the conversations that are being had and understand that you can have an opinion on football, whoever you support, whatever football you watch. I watch more than just Chelsea, all right? I can form my opinion on years and years of working in the game, of being part of football teams. And that is how I can build my knowledge basis to form my opinions and give my thoughts on situations, whether they're for Chelsea or not. It doesn't mean that I'm happy for the rival team or whatever. I don't really care. It doesn't matter to me if Liverpool go and sign Mamadashvili. It doesn't matter to me if Arsenal sign Calafiori. I can tell you that it's a good buy or not. So that's absolutely crazy to think like that. That's not the case. So I just want to make that clear because I see it everywhere. Everywhere I go, I respect every person's opinion. They're entitled to form it. As long as they're forming their opinion off of a good knowledge base and off of evidence that's there, and they're not just making it up out of thin air, then I can deal with that. If people are making facts and trying to make statements without facts and trying to make opinions that are way off what is obviously there with evidence, that's when I'll debate it and I'll have to discuss it. But it doesn't mean I don't like the person, or it doesn't mean I'm twerking for a rival. So I just want to get that out there, because if you're going to watch on this channel, I don't want to see people saying, oh, you're not twerking for rivals right now. I'm the same person here. I'm the same person that you meet in real life if you ever see me at a game. And I'm the same person on every other channel. And that is how it is. And exactly, respect all opinions and thoughts, says Marty. And I completely agree. It is okay to disagree, and it is okay to debate, and it is okay to accept that other teams might be doing a better job than ours. It's okay. We haven't won a trophy in ages. Manchester City are about to win 5 in a row. Do you know what I mean? It's okay. Now, I don't need to ban him, because actually he allowed me to comment on something I probably should have thought about commenting on before. So I just wanted to put that out there. And I'm not going to ban him. He's entitled to his opinion. If he thinks I'm twerking for rivals, then he can think I'm twerking for rivals. But I will try and educate people to understand that that isn't what I'm doing. I'm just telling you what I see, and I can praise a rival team whether I like them or not. I can sit here and tell you that I think Tottenham have done well in terms of some of their recruitment this summer. I think Dominic Solanke is a great buy. I hate Tottenham. I hate Tottenham. But I can tell you, I think that's a good signing. Anyway, when Osimhen comes to Chelsea, every defender will wake up. I guarantee you, I'm a Nigerian. I know the fence. And indeed, the whole team of Nigeria does better. Look, if Nigeria does better and Chelsea are doing better, then we're all brothers. Do you know what I will say? If Osimhen signs for Chelsea, I'm going to go get a Nigeria kit because I think there's some of the best kits on the market. But I've never really had a player there that would make me want to go and buy the kit back. Believe me, there'll be a Nigeria Osimhen kit up here if we get him. I can tell you that right now. I have the Osimhen Chelsea one and the Osimhen Nigeria one. This is crazy because think how good Solanke was for Chelsea as a youngster. He was unbelievably good. And he went to Liverpool for like something like 12, 13 million, I think. And then obviously it didn't really work out. But yeah, crazy for me that that Solanke's now finally sort of coming round full circle, got himself a big move again. Look, all the best to Dominic Solanke. He's Chelsea. He's a Chelsea boy. He's at Spurs. It'll suck to see him succeed at Spurs, especially if they nick a top 4 space off of us. But I genuinely think Dominic Solanke deserves to get that chance again. I really do. Let's see. Everyone hates Spurs. They probably do on this channel, to be fair. They probably do. Chelsea have opened talks with Besiktas regarding the loan of Angelo Gabriel. Yeah, look, Gabriel, for me, is going to be one of them players we flip. I don't think we're going to see him break into the team unless he sets the world alight. But Besiktas is probably a step up to Strasbourg. So it's a better move. If he goes and performs, he's going to catch some eyes around Europe. Let's see what happens with that. Drogba 2.0, get Victor. Oh, please. I definitely have him. Solanke has developed really well. Shames at Spurs. Yeah, I completely agree with this. I really do. Aka says, big up Dan and chat. Big up, Aka. Good to have you in here, man. Great to see so many new names, by the way. If Lukaku is 37 million euros, Castelli is 20 million euros, plus 45, which is 102 million euros, which I think Osimhen doesn't deserve it in this time. I'll be fair, right? Lukaku's probably 30. Casadei is probably 10. I don't think he's worth 20. I don't think we've seen enough for him to be worth 20 million. I just don't think we have. He's not anywhere near Chelsea's first team. And 45 million euros is the cash you have to move around. We bring that down to about 90 million euros. That's about 85 million pounds in terms of value for Osimhen. How'd you say no to that? I really don't think that's that bad. And if 45 million is the only money you lose in the bank and the rest is on theoretical value of what players are worth, come on. You make that happen. You really do. You really, really do. I joined late on the Osimhen deal. That's pretty much it, by the way, Nathan, is that Osimhen is potentially on the table from Napoli's side of things because they want Lukaku. This isn't Chelsea chasing Osimhen now. This is Napoli chasing Lukaku. And that is what LB said to me earlier. Chelsea have flipped it and they've switched it. And it's an unbelievable play. And at first, I didn't buy it. But right now, I think I can see it. And I think it looks like an exceptional bit of business from them. I really, really do. If this is real and this is legit, it's coming out of Naples, this news, this would be amazing for Chelsea. It really, really would. What wages have Chelsea offered Osimhen? We don't know. And Osimhen's on a lot of money. He's probably on about 250 grand a week. Probably euros, by the way, that is out in Napoli. If Chelsea are offering him any less than 200,000 euros, I can't see him being happy. So I think they're going to have to pay the money. But when you think about Lukaku being on 320 and Casadei's probably on about 30, that's like 350 grand a week. You cut down 150 grand in wages. You can't moan at that. I don't mind this. I don't mind the Angelo deal. What do you think? Who do you think starts? I think Osimhen starts every day of the week. And that is absolutely... He's on 260, says Sean. So there you go. I think Chelsea cut him down 60 grand for sure. And I think Chelsea obviously managed to reduce some players and remove some players from our squad. This sounds unbelievable for me. I really do. And I genuinely think, Stephen, that those values are realistic. I don't think Lukaku's worth much more than that. Definitely not to Chelsea. He's not worth 30 million. Is it impossible to bring him down to 120 grand a week? Probably is. The only way I actually see Chelsea reducing Osimhen's wages, right, are by, here we go. Is this breaking news from Matt Law? Osimhen's valuation, there's an issue for me, because this valuation now is perfect. His wage demands remain a hurdle to overcome for Chelsea. The club are watching situations of a number of strikers and forwards. You have to make sure that Osimhen is happy to make sure this deal gets done. You're going to have to pay a little bit more in wages. Is it the breaking of the wage structure? Probably not. Not really. I think if you go and pay 300 grand, we're talking about huge amounts of money here. Like, way off. Cole Palmer's on, 120? If Osimhen comes in on 200, the fact that they've had to bring him in, and when we bought Cole Palmer, he wasn't a nobody, but he wasn't getting into a starting 11 in any team in the league, really. Probably not. I think he was being potentially loaned to Burnley. Now, you couldn't even imagine that happening. His wages have been upped. If you're bringing in Osimhen, Napoli bought Osimhen for 70 million euros. Osimhen gets into most teams in the Champions League who are fighting to go and win it. So if he comes to Chelsea, you've got to pay him more. Players will understand that. Pay the money, get Osimhen in, okay, reduce his wages down a bit, and say to him, if you score me 30 goals and you want to be paid 15 million a year, I'll pay you 10 million. And if you go and score me 30 goals, in bonuses, you'll earn the other 5. Now, that's obviously drastic, and that probably isn't exactly how it will happen, but he probably could earn 1 or 2 million in bonuses for sure. And that's how Chelsea are trying to structure these deals, is say to these players, look, if you perform, there's wage increases to be had, there's money to be earned in bonuses. And Cole Palmer, like I said earlier, is the perfect example. Nicholas Jackson is now getting a new contract because he came in and he performed. For a £30 million striker to score 17 goals, or whatever, he got 16, he's earned his money. He's earned his contract extension, and he's going to get it. And it's the perfect thing for other players in the team to see. If Madueke wants more money, go and score 15 goals. Go and work hard to do that. So if Osimhen sees that, and he sees that Cole Palmer can be paid 60 grand and the next year 120 because of how well he did, Osimhen will understand that if he came in on 180, if he goes and bags 30 goals, he'll earn 300 grand a week in terms of bonuses, and the fact that it won't be long before they give him a new contract. By the way, that's what happened at Tottenham as well. At Tottenham, under Daniel Levy, so many of those players were on pretty low wages in comparison, and they were all on bonus structures, and they all earned, for achieving, they earned more money. Obviously, they probably didn't earn as much as they wanted because Tottenham didn't achieve much. But that's the idea around it. And for me, I don't mind that because it adds hunger. If someone is money motivated, that's what it does. And if someone isn't money motivated, that's also okay, because then they might be motivated by what they do on the football pitch. But if someone wants money, they'll up their performances to get more money. And if someone's just happy performing, it's okay. But someone like Sterling can come in on 300 grand a week, score 10 goals a season, and take home that guaranteed amount of money. That doesn't sit well with me. That doesn't sit well with the board. And I think that's why they're trying to offload these type of players. But guys, look, what I will say is it's been unbelievable chatting to all of you guys. There's been so much to talk about. Fingers crossed Osimhen gets done. I really hope it does. We all know how amazing this would be. I've seen so many new faces today. It's been unbelievable. There's so many of you guys in here. I don't even know how to raid and send you guys over to another channel. But look, it's been an absolute pleasure. We're on 137 likes. If we could get to 150 and smash the like button, that would be absolutely unbelievable. Anyone that's tuning in after as well to watch it, it'd be fantastic to hit 150 likes. Chelsea are in a position now where I feel a little bit more positive. If we go and get this Osimhen deal done, that really excites me. It really, really does. If we don't get Osimhen done, I'll start to worry again a little bit. But right now, when I see how good this could be and how much this could be a bargain for Chelsea, if you only have to part with £45 million cash, I think it could be unbelievable. Unbelievable, guys. So look, if you're new, make sure to subscribe. We're on the road to 3,000 and on TikTok as well and on all the other socials. Check me out. It's at BDB Dan across the board on the socials. I love chatting to you guys. I want to build this community up. I want to speak to so many of you. Every time we go live, I want to see you guys coming in here again. I want to speak to you guys on Twitter. I want to speak to you guys on TikTok and YouTube. And if you ever see me at the ground, come and say hello because I'd love to see some of you in person. Let's see what happens with the news. And I will catch up with you guys in a bit. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to every single one of you. And I appreciate you all so much. Fantastic from every single one of you guys tuning in today. If you all go over and watch someone else, just let them know where you came from because I don't know how to raid. And I feel really bad because I know everyone does it. But I don't even know where to find the button. But yeah, look, I'll catch you all in a bit. Absolute pleasure, guys. Great stream. Great chatting to every single one of you. Keep the blue flag flying high. And fingers crossed, Osimhen turns up at Stamford Bridge before the end of deadline day in a Chelsea shirt.